It's super hot outside, and what better time than to sit inside and watch anime. This time, there's gonna be no particular order, so let's get started. Dr. Stone is the next show to be pushed hard by Crunchyroll. They even advertised it in Times Square of all places. The manga's pretty recent, and Crunchyroll wanted a company to adapt it and put it on their platform, just like Shield Hero. What's weird about it though is that it has the Crunchyroll logo at the beginning of it, like they were the ones who made the show. Shield Hero didn't have that, and Crunchyroll did the same with that show. Who knows? But Dr. Stone is pretty interesting. In the beginning, humanity sees a huge green flash of light that extends across the entire world, turning everyone into stone. Fast forward 3,700 years into the future, two high school kids, no surprise there, wake up and try to solve this mysterious problem. One of them's very good with science, so he wants to solve this dilemma with science. The other is as dumb as a rock, but he's so determined that he'll help out with all the manual labor stuff since he's a pretty built guy. It's Bronze and Brains trying to solve this issue through science and persistence. I think what's really hooking me right now is knowing what happened. We start with so many unanswered questions, and you, the viewer, want to know more, so you'll probably watch more. What baffles me the most is how both of them got out. Through sheer will alone, both the protagonist and the side characters stay conscious throughout the 3,700 years. Untapped potential, just like every shonen. They also talk about if reviving everyone is the right thing to do. They have a chance to change society, so should they take it is a question asked in the second episode. That concept's pretty interesting to me at least. Hopefully they have more interesting concepts like that pop up again soon. They also discuss chemical compounds mixed together to make stuff, so technically it's also educational. Now the studio behind it, TMS Entertainment, has done things like Fruits Basket, Kenshi, Real Life, and many others. From what I've seen, they're really good at adapting a lot of different styles. I really like the character designs for this show because it looks like a mix of old and new. It looks very polished, but has the style of like a late 90s anime, especially with how that girl looks in the first episode. The woman, or should I say Yuzuriha, is overly detailed. The artist, Bochi, has this unique style and I like it. I didn't like the OP though. I knew the band sounded familiar, and then I looked it up, and it was done by Burnout Syndromes, and they did all the Haikyuu openings, or most of them I should say. I'm not really down for it, but honestly, I'm down for the show. I'm probably going to continue it. If you want to watch it, it's on Crunchyroll. I don't know why I picked this show up. I wasn't going to watch it, but it's a short show and it was the first of the new season stuff on Crunchyroll, so I figured, why not? It's only 12 minutes per episode anyway. This show's about 4 high school girls stranded on a deserted island. Of course it's high school girls. Why would it be anyone else? The character designs seem familiar. Isola is the studio behind this, and they made Happy Sugar Life. That's it. Happy Sugar Life was fine from the 2 episodes that I watched, and this show, it's alright. I do have to say it's not all bad though. There's one girl who's basically a survival expert, and all the scenes with her are pretty funny. It's only 12 minutes per episode, and it's not girly Air Force, so I'm probably going to continue watching it. If you want to watch it, it's on Crunchyroll. Speaking of getting lost, this is what was shown for the promo video of Kanata no Astra, and it was really cool. It reminded me a little of Gravity, you know, the movie with Sandra Bullock and George Clooney, but it's a little different than that. In the future, kids from high school get to go on a trip to space with a small group of other high schoolers to spend 5 days on a planet to experience space travel. This group we follow goes on the same trip, but then a mysterious orb sucks them up and teleports them all in space, stranded. Now they have to work together to get home. First off, the first episode is an hour long, and it doesn't feel that way. I think it's pretty well paced since it felt pretty fast. Second off, it switches between widescreen and full screen, probably to show the scale of the space around them. The character designs are kinda bland, but the characters all seem like they have defined personalities, so that's good. I like Kanata. He seems like a secondary main character because technically Arius is the main character. He's like a born leader, even though the other characters take a little to warm up to him. They'll probably expand on the other characters throughout the rest of the show. They're forced to work together, so from being strangers to a single unit is something we'll see more of in the future, hopefully. I also believe this will be a full adaptation because the manga's done and it's only 5 volumes, so I think they can cover all of it. This is made by Lurch, and they made Assassination Classroom, Asobi Asobase, Danganronpa, and the phenomenal Monster Musume. So I feel like they can adapt it in a great way. If you want to watch this show, it's on Hulu and Funimation. Going in only seeing the poster, synopsis, and avoiding the promo video was a great idea. I was shocked about how good the animation was. Fire Force deals with a kid who has an ability to shoot fire from his feet. Because of what happens in the past, people call him the devil because of how he smiles in horrible situations. He eventually joins the Fire Force, which are essentially glorified firefighters, to become a hero and figure out what happened in the past. They really make shonens out of anything these days. Food was one thing, but firefighting? That's pretty out there. They aren't just putting out fires, however. They're trying to figure out the cause of spontaneous combustion happening to random individuals. This causes the people to become demon-like creatures called infernals. It just happened one day, just like Dr. Stone's turning humans into stone event. In both shows, they'll probably explain it later. It's kinda sad, however, because sure, the infernals are inherently bad, but sometimes they don't attack or harm anyone. This brings a little bit of ethics into Fire Force. Is it okay to kill these infernals? More interesting topics. Lots of people are hyped for this show because it came from the manga writer responsible for Soul Eater, so the character designs and the excitement of shonen are all there. This was also supposed to come out in the spring, but got delayed to the summer, and for good reason. They wanted to improve the quality of the show and keep it at the level that it's at now for its supposed 48 episode run. Lots of animators from Studio Shaft, the people responsible for Madoka and the Monogatari series, moved over to David Production to be a part of this, and it's really working in their favor. David Production is really becoming a popular studio. With Cells at Work and JoJo, they can change styles and keep them looking good. The character designs look really unique, a lot like Soul Eater for obvious reasons. The soundtrack is also really good too. There's one scene where the music ramps up with the action on screen and it's super hype. Ittekimasu! The ending is also a huge bop. This is a shonen, so it's pretty fast paced and extremely fun, but I hope they don't just focus on the flashy nature of the show. Yeah, sure, shonen is mostly that, but it can also have great characters and a cool world, so hopefully they expand upon it. If you want to watch Fire Force, it's on Crunchyroll subbed and Funimation dubbed. This show is just another highly anticipated show of this season. The manga is ranked really high on my anime list, and people have been wanting an adaptation for this for a while. The story is about a Viking who seeks revenge on those who wronged him. It starts with the main character, Thorfinn, as a boy growing up safely in a small town. Then it follows him as he gets stronger so he can seek revenge. Wit Studio, the company behind Attack on Titan, Ancient Magus Bride, After the Rain, and many others, took on the challenge of adapting this very good manga. With the help of Production IG, Twin Engine, and a couple of others, this show looks fantastic. The character designs are already pretty complex because of how they dressed in the past, plus most of the characters we see are older, so you see the details in their faces. They also use CG, which usually isn't the best thing ever, but the person responsible for the CG has only dealt with it, so how it's blended with everything else is pretty good looking, for the most part. The whole world of Vinland Saga is pretty interesting too. With Vikings, you have a whole different culture at your disposal, plus original characters and ideas, so they have tons to work with. They also show the brutality of how the Vikings work, and it can be pretty gruesome. Wit Studio decided to release the first 3 episodes all at once, which is pretty surprising. Some say it's because they wanted to show all 3 episodes at once, others say it's because the airing for the next 2 weeks are taken over by a sporting event, but I'm not too sure. With these first 3 episodes, they're building up the worlds and the characters, but personally, I think it's pretty slow. I wasn't the biggest fan of the first 3 episodes, but I think I'm going to stick with it because it's supposedly really good. What I did think was really good was the opening. I feel like it really captures the frustration Thorfinn feels. If you want to check it out, it's on Prime Video. Okaasan Online. Honestly, the greatest shortened title I've ever seen from a light novel adaptation. The full title is Do You Like Your Mom? Her normal attack is 2 attacks at full power. It's such a shame, however. I'm going to be 100% honest and say that I like certain things about this show. The premise alone isn't just a mom getting isekai'd with her son, but it's a government plan to have this game that sends mothers and their kids into it to rekindle their rough relationship. Like, that premise sounds really cool and it could work really well if it was done right. Unfortunately, we get another trash isekai. I'm sure you've all seen isekais. They're so popular that it seems like every season has them, but most of the time, they're horrible. To be fair, this show made me laugh with some puns and such, but why do people think this is good? I don't want to see a bland protagonist. I don't want to see a harem with all women plus the protagonist, especially if one of the women is your mother. And I especially don't want sexual things in my anime. Look, I get that anime has sexual things all the time, and there's even a genre called ecchi that's primarily sexual focused, and you're probably like, well, that's just anime. But that's not true. This show doesn't even have an ecchi tag under it, and it goes from 0 to 100 real quick. But if you don't know, this manga had help from an artist named Pochi, who specializes in hentai stuff. So I guess I should have seen it coming. If this was a drama/comedy with better characters, no sexual anything, and better animation, this show, in my own opinion, would probably be a very engaging isekai, maybe rivaling the greats, in my own opinion. Instead, we get a really mediocre show with pretty standard animation and very tropey characters. Potential that's wasted in my eyes. Another show that made me feel this way as well is Chivalry of a Failed Knight. This show actually has a great premise with interesting characters, an interesting world, and pretty good animation, but how do they ruin it? Ecchi. Ecchi can ruin shows. They start to focus on pandering to the audience. If I wanted to see that, I'd watch porn. Stop throwing in these sexual moments and focus on the story and the characters, or create a healthy balance between the two. Yeah, it might sound crazy, but there are good ecchi out there. If ecchi and mom and son relationships is your thing, go on Crunchyroll and check it out. But if not, go write a better version of this wasted opportunity. A thick girl, personal training, and comedy that lands, it spells a recipe for success, or how heavy are the dumbbells you lift. Doga Kobo really hit it out of the park with this one. They're the studio responsible for Uza Maid, New Game, Yuru Yuri, and many other cute girls doing cute things shows. But this show's a little different. This can be classified under that too, but exercise isn't really a cute thing. Most of the time, it's not pretty to look at. So anyway, this girl Hibiki gets called fat from a friend and decides it's time to exercise. She realizes that she can't do it alone, so she enlists the help of a personal trainer at a gym. Little does she realize that this gym is full of intense bodybuilders, so she gets intimidated, but she presses on. Everything about this show is great. The characters are full of life. They aren't your bland harem protagonists. Hibiki is a normal girl who loves food, but also wants to lose weight, so she tries exercise. The friend she meets at the gym is a girl from her school named Akemi, who is prim and proper on the surface. She soon realizes that this isn't the case at the gym because she has a muscle fetish. The personal trainer, Naruzo, is the reason that Hibiki presses on because he's hot, but more importantly, because he's supportive, like personal trainers are supposed to be. He's also extremely built and looks extremely weird, but what can you do? Hibiki has never exercised in her life, so she struggles with the exercises and becomes very sore afterwards. She gets very discouraged when people around her can lift more than she can, but Naruzo is super helpful, plus her new friend Akemi is also very supportive. A lot of interesting people in this show, and Hibiki is surrounded by them. The animation's also pretty good. When it comes to shows like these, character designs are usually pretty plain, but then they flex really good animation for comedic moments, like the scene where Hibiki and Akemi enter the gym for the first time. They also have some great reaction faces. The way they explain every workout is also surprisingly accurate and detailed. They show proper form with every new workout so far. The opening is also a bop. The show is also a little fanservicey, but other than that, it's really funny and entertaining, so check it out if you have the chance. If you want to watch it, it's on Funimation. Originally, there weren't very many shows I was interested in, but now that I've watched all of these shows, I can safely say that I'm gonna be watching a lot this season. Hopefully I convinced some of you to watch some of the shows, and hopefully you'll enjoy them as much as I did. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.